Alright guys, looks like things are moving so fast. So fast, the past few weeks have been like that. You snap your fingers and everything just fades away. Anyway, want to start the day today talking about Costco. So I finished shopping today, and I'm usually zippity zip from one place to the next. Almost not thinking, just going. Just go. Don't think, just go, just do. Get things done. Too many things to be done in one day. So I mean, and Mission Impossible just came out. Mission Impossible just came out. What is the other good one that they've recently released? Was it Indiana Jones? I don't know. I haven't watched either of them, but I'm kind of looking forward to seeing Mission Impossible. I mean, it should be pretty cool. Anyway, just jumping through from topic to topic. First thing to say is thank you to Costco and the wonderful women that work there. I just finished paying. Get my receipt, stick it in the cart. I hadn't, those thingies that you use for children. Children, basically, you can sit your children at the back of the cart, and usually they have this like red bit that goes up and down. Like if children are in the cart, you usually put it up. If the children are going to be sitting in there, you push it down so the legs can get through. Otherwise, you lift them up. Basically, I didn't do that, so I had a receipt. in there, and of course, the receipt flew out. So first of all, the nice lady there was helping me, because usually, I do the manly thing. So if I have a huge thingy of water bottles, I'll just pick it up and stick it in the machine awkwardly, and then just so that it can scan the code, the barcode or whatever. But she did that with her little machine there that scans the code. But basically, I basically went off to the other side. I'd finished paying, and obviously the thing had fallen out. I went to get myself some Costco pizza at the thing, and then as soon as I was done, I received my pizza, and I was looking around like an idiot. I was like, where's my receipt? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I think this went on for about like a minute or so. And all of a sudden, this really nice lady just shows up. She goes, "Sir, I think this may be yours." And I'm like, "Yes, you saved the day." Anyway, long-winded way to say thank you, but totally worth it. What else is going on? I mean, so much is going on. I mean, what is it? Valuetainment are back. And they did a recent podcast that was pretty cool. We've got Vinny. He's the comedy in Valuetainment, and he's the one and only vegan vampire. Pretty cool. What else did we have? We had the first Andrew Tate with Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson now is no longer at Fox, just like Don Lemon is no longer, and Chris Cuomo both no longer on that platform, on those platforms. But anyway, it's the first interview, maybe the second one. The first one was the one that Valuetainment did was good. It was good, but for the most part, from time to time, you'd have like bing, 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 bing. Like every time that Andrew Tate gets on one of those what do you call it? Podcasts. You're like, it's like thermonuclear, right? You have those little machines that tell you how radioactive it is. It's like red flag, ding, 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 ding. And this time when he was speaking with Tucker Carlson, maybe because Tucker Carlson wasn't constantly like he was definitely having pushback when Andrew Tate was saying certain things, but it wasn't like so intrusive as some of the other ones. So the way that Andrew Tate was responding was pretty logical most of the time, and he was saying things in a completely different tune. Like what is it? I think it's Michikaku. Michikaku says the string theory genius over there would say, that the world is like a symphony and everything goes on strings. Well, usually when Andrew Tate talks, he's off key, and so it's something like bing, 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 flag, flag, flag. You have that little machine, radioactive. But it felt like it was a little better this time. So anyway, just thought I'd point that out. What else going on? There was DeGrasse Tyson. I think DeGrasse. I'm not exactly. I don't really know exactly how to say it. But anyway, he showed up in another one. He showed up in another podcast, which was kind of interesting, where he was saying basically that he wants to create things that are good for civilization and to move civilization forward. This seems to be a common theme with most of the really smart people out there, and we're trying to create things with what we know that are positive and useful to bring our civilization forward. And like you can't philosophically create a bridge that is going to stand in reality, right? You got to use the physics that exists, and you can cheat. If you're good at remote viewing, you could cheat and you could go into a different time space and check out what a Galactic Federation is doing with their technology and maybe bring back some of that information. But sadly, it makes it hard to disclose all the cool stuff that's going on right now with the Galactic Federation, simply because of the way our world works, right? Remote viewers can see all the stuff that's going on, and they're like saying, how is it possible that we can't release this information to the general public and nobody will believe us? Well, there is technology out there right now. I'm not sure where we are with Neuralink, but there are some other technologies that allow you to see what you dream. And so if we hooked up one of these amazing people that can remote view with one of these machines, and then we were able to record what they saw, we could easily go into these black site facilities and see exactly what technology exists, and whether it's from the Galactic Federation or not, whether it's something else, black ops or whatever it is, psyops that they're doing, and we'd be able to tell the difference immediately, which crafts and which technology is man-made, reverse engineered from galactic technology, and what isn't. But anyway, one of the cool things that we can do right now is this, but who is going to set this up? Because the alternative is to do it the other way, which is to do a proper disclosure, to have the people that are working on these black op projects to come out and say, look, this is what we've done. But it's difficult to do because if you've been associated with some of the nefarious things that have gone on, it becomes hard for you to be able to keep your pension and all that stuff. So it's a little bit messy what's going on right now, but I'm hopeful as more and more of these decent sources out there that are discussing about UFOs, and some people call them extraterrestrial, some people call them from the Galactic Federation, other people say they're non-terrestrial equipment and vehicles and stuff like that. So a lot of this stuff could easily be shown and understood, but the problem is it's almost impossible for one person to really show another person, one, how to do remote viewing is very difficult for most people to understand, because we've been programmed to be very, very logical, at least some of us. So it's hard for us to even have the time to learn how to do remote viewing. It's difficult. And most people who try to do it by using things like psychedelics and stuff like that, they get all caught up in how much fun it is to do this, that, and the other, and they forget their plan of actually, being useful. But even if they did see what they're supposed to see, it's difficult for them to disclose it, and then there's other things that go on. But anyway, one of the best ways, and I think Dr. Stephen Greer really hit the nail on the head here, is by bringing out some of these technologies, not patenting them, but making them open source so everybody can have access to this technology. I mean, imagine if you could have materials that are like hybrid materials or very, very pure materials that can only be created with galactic technology. And these things could be amazing. Like, for instance, I had once an idea to create the unbreakable, indestructible car, the Bumpaflex, a chassis that could do that. But you could only do that with these advanced materials, and part of the reason why it probably didn't go anywhere was because you can't upset You can't upset the powers that be, and nobody wants this technology out there, because imagine what that would do to the insurance business and a bunch of other things if you would have the first crash-proof car. Imagine if that was a Tesla. That would be amazing. Imagine if Tesla, thanks to Dr. Stephen Greer and his connections with the Galactic Federation, was able to produce the first ever vehicle with a bumper flex chassis, which basically means that a regular car could get into an accident, and with these advanced materials and the way that it was structured, and I had all these ideas in my head of building this thing, but the alloys that we have currently don't have the properties that we want. Imagine something like Ninja Flex, but that's also strong, that keeps its shape. But during a crash, your car could basically compress without obviously killing the person inside, without compressing the person, just compressing some of the electronics and some of the things, and then be able to expand back into its original. This is stuff that can be done with galactic technology and stuff, as well as imagine I call it the Chi Fusion technology, which is basically you can get energy, create these systems that can use chi. It's pretty much, chi has been understood pretty much. So if humans can use chi and get it from either the ground or the air around them and stuff, so could all these cars. So imagine being able to do coast to coast in a Tesla. Wouldn't that be amazing? I would love to be able to do a drive coast to coast with a Tesla on a single charge. You probably could do it. You wouldn't want this technology to be going out immediately right away and disrupting the whole system all in one go, but you could create little things such as a little extra generator that goes inside, so you would still probably rely on batteries for a little while, but you'd have like a side generator, so your battery would be able to last a lot longer. For instance, right now, if you try to do let's say LA to Vegas, you still have to do a little stop for about 15 minutes in order to get your Tesla from one place to the next. You can't just do it in one go, and if you're using gasoline, you can. So imagine if you had one of these little Chi Fuser adapter systems that you could connect to the battery. Now, it's better than solar, right? Because solar basically doesn't give you enough power while you're driving to be able to do that. You'd have to have a huge roof on top and huge heavy solar panels in order to that. But if you had a Chi Fuser inside your battery unit, you could keep that battery regenerating for quite a while, and then you could extend your battery life enough to make it. At the very least, maybe you wouldn't be able, with the first generation of this thing, maybe it wouldn't be that great. It would be, pretty good. You could at least do maybe Vegas to LA in one go on one single charge, without ending up over there and having to charge like for like a whole hour. Maybe by the end of the trip you get over there and you only have to charge for 15 minutes over there, something like that. That would be pretty cool. So anyway, so I'm hoping that Elon Musk will help Dr. Stephen Greer with stuff like that, and maybe more people will join this thing so that we can get some of these energies out. We want to try to get rid of nuclear because, again, I've said this so many different times. The problem with nuclear is that it is great clean energy, but human beings are stupid. We don't know how to make it clean. We don't know how to make it safe. So anything like an earthquake, anything like a tsunami, anything like the polar shifts, and these things become extremely toxic, dangerous. The famous saying is thermonuclear, whatever, right? We've seen Chernobyl, we've seen Fukushima, we've seen the B-bomb on top of, Hiroshima. We've seen all these things that are horrible, and the effects that it does on the population, on our soil, what it does to our water, what it does to our air, and then the areas where around these places become uninhabitable for years and years to come. So should we suddenly jump onto nuclear? No, we should try to get rid of it. In fact, if there was a deal that we could have and our president could all our presidents could sign it to say we're done with nuclear, whether it's, bombs technology or power generation technology. We'll give it back to the galactics. We're done with this technology. And can we have the other stuff, the better stuff, the cleaner stuff? A chief user, I think it's a pretty good name for it. If we could have a chief user device, we'd obviously have to have big ones to replace the big plants and stuff like that. And so slowly this technology would trickle down over to the customers. So in the beginning, as I said before, it could be some small generators that you could attach to your Teslas and stuff like that. And all of a sudden the Tesla can go from, only a few hundred miles to being able to do a nice trip like from Vegas to LA. And suddenly, as the technology gets better, suddenly with a Tesla you could do coast to coast. Anyway, I think that is the way we should be moving ahead. Flying cars, I don't know. That's probably one step too far if it, could cause like national security issues. Or you could have, again, the technology could come in really small, like hovercrafts. It'd be awesome. Who doesn't want a hovercraft, like a scooter that has a hovercraft? Maybe you set a limit of height, how far up it can go, just like we could do that with drones, right? No higher, and if you want to have kids on these things, you probably wouldn't have any. The hoverboard can't go any higher than, 10 feet or something. You don't want your kids. If you have kids, you don't want your kids to be any higher up there than like maybe 5-10 feet, because it's dangerous, right? And then there's a whole question of helmets and all that stuff. But obviously you don't want these to be like delivery systems for the nefarious people to do stuff. But it'd be pretty cool to have a hoverboard. Back to the Future. Michael J. Fox. Let's you know how uninspiring it is to live in a world where people keep telling you, no, there's no such thing as UFOs. It's so uninspiring. All there is what you see. Money, the grind, the work grind, and nothing else. Your imagination has nowhere to go. Anyway, so let's hope some of this stuff comes to pass. With more and more people working together to do some of this stuff, it's going to work out, I think. And more of these people, even if they don't perfectly agree with each other, especially the UFO people that are coming out showing up stuff, we need as many of the UFO people to disregard some of their differences and to work together. And I think it's working. I've started to see a lot of this helpful things. Like, for instance, you'll have David Grush or something, or there was one guy who said like David Grush is really good, and then they were like, but Stephen Greer, I'm not sure about him. And then they kind of came back to it and they realized they did more research, they dug into things, and they're like, oh, actually maybe both of these guys are pretty good. This is what we need. We need collaboration, because the more of us that work together bringing this stuff out, the better it is for everybody else. And so maybe we can finally bury some of these stigma. People believe something that exists beyond our reality, and all of a sudden they're a kook, they're a quack, they're a dork, they're a nerd, they're crazy. The favorite word is crazy. They must be out of this world crazy. Anyway, guys, I hope, and I am kind of really an optimist in general, that people are doing their jobs out there and things are getting better. At least that's what I've been seeing. And if we can keep this going in the right direction, we can hopefully steer ourselves away from nuclear war. If there is at some point a polar shift, we have gotten rid of our nuclear technology, so that will be ineffective and it will not hurt us, because that's where we want to go. We have to be very careful with this polar shift issue, and also we want to just clean up our airs, our water, our soil. We want our children to inherit a better future than what we've given them. And I think that finally there's enough people that are seeing this, and they're doing stuff. And so thank you. I want to give a big thank you to everybody who is participating in all this stuff. It makes a difference. It makes the world more inspiring for us old folks, but also for the new generations.